Hello, good morning to all of you. Welcome to all of you on our channel Deepak Education. Today we will discuss about asymptotes of hyperbola. In previous lecture we have already seen about asymptotes. In that lecture we discussed how to find asymptotes of different kind like horizontal asymptotes, vertical asymptotes and oblique asymptotes. So let's begin with asymptotes of hyperbola. So let us consider a hyperbola like x square upon a square minus y square upon b square is equal to 1. Now let us consider, since we know that asymptote is a line, so let us consider asymptote is y is equal to mx plus c. So what actually asymptote is? Asymptote is a line which touches a curve at the point of infinity. So if y is equal to mx plus c is going to asymptote of the hyperbola, so this line will touch the hyperbola at the point of infinity. So mathematically, for intersection we put y is equal to mx plus c in hyperbola and we get like x square upon a square minus y mx plus c whole square upon b square is equal to 1 implies b square x square minus a square into m square x square plus c square plus 2mcx is equal to a square b square. Arranging all the terms we get b square minus a square m square into x square minus 2a square mcx plus minus a square c square and minus this term a square b square equal to 0. So this is the intersection equation of hyperbola and line y is equal to mx plus c. So the roots of equation 1 will give the point of intersection of hyperbola and asymptotes. But as we know that this is the asymptote of the hyperbola, so it is never going to cut or touch the hyperbola x square upon a square minus y square upon b square equal to 1, and which is possible only when the roots of equation will be undefined. So what will be the condition that the roots of the equation ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0 will undefined or infinity roots? So we can say if d less than 0, then the roots of the equation will be imaginary, that is undefined. But in that case we will get a condition. We are not going to get the value of m and c so that we can find the equation of asymptotes. So this approach we can't use. Now we are going to use the second approach. What if a equal to 0, then there will be a root of the equation bx equal plus c equal to 0. If b equal to 0, in that case we can also get a root. If c equal to 0, then we can also get that root. If a is equal to c equal to 0, in that case we can also root. If b equal to c equal to 0, in that case also we can get a root. If a equal to b equal to 0, in this case we are not going to get any roots, and in that case we can say that roots of the equation will be undefined. So for asymptotes, coefficient of x square is equal to coefficient of x is equal to 0. And we have already discussed in the previous lecture that to find oblique asymptote, equate the coefficient of two highest power of x, and this is same. like that. So using this condition, b square minus a square m square is equal to 0, and this implies m is equal to plus minus b upon a. And putting the value of m in this equation, second part, that is minus 2a square mc equal to 0, implies c is equal to 0. So we can say that slope of the asymptote of hyperbola x square upon a square minus y square upon b square equal to 1 will be plus minus b by a, and the constant term will be 0. That means the asymptote will always pass through the origin, and origin is the center of the hyperbola, so we can say that asymptote always passes through center of hyperbola. So putting the value of m and c in the equation, we get asymptotes are y is equal to b by a into x and y is equal to minus b by a into x, and this is a separate equation. So we can also write bx minus ay equal to 0 and bx plus ay equal to 0. Multiplying the above equation, we can get b square x square minus a square y square equal to 0, and dividing both sides by a square b square, we get x square upon a square minus y square upon b square equal to 0. And this is the combined equation of the asymptote. So now you just compare the equation of hyperbola and its asymptote. So you can see that there is only difference in constant term in the equation of hyperbola and its asymptote. Right on. Now let us see the properties of asymptotes and hyperbola. Let x square upon a square minus y square upon b square minus 1 is the expression of the hyperbola, and x square upon a square minus y square upon b square plus 1 is the expression of the conjugate hyperbola, and we get expression of the hyperbola asymptote as x square minus a square upon minus y square upon b square. So from above three relations, we can say that c plus h is equal to 2a. So from this equation, if we have any two among three, we can find the third one. Okay. Second point is, as equation of hyperbola asymptotes are x square upon a square minus y square upon b square equal to 1, and the separate equation are y is equal to b by a into x and y is equal to minus b by a into x. So definitely both will pass through the origin, and since origin is the center of the hyperbola, so we can say that asymptote always passes through center of hyperbola. Now third point is, slope of hyperbola are b by a and minus b by a. So if one is making an angle b by tan inverse b by a in anti-clockwise direction, second will make in clockwise direction. So we can say that asymptotes are equally inclined with the axes of the hyperbola, because x-axis and y-axis are the axis of hyperbola, and these two lines, that is the asymptotes lines, are equally inclined with the x and y-axis. So we can say that asymptotes are equally inclined with the axes of hyperbola. Asymptotes are equally inclined with axes of hyperbola. Now fourth point is, suppose this asymptote is making an angle theta with the x-axis in an anti-clockwise direction, then this will be value of tan theta, and hence theta will be equal to tan inverse b by a. The same angle in magnitude this asymptote will also make with the x-axis but in clockwise direction. So one of the line is making theta angle in anti-clockwise direction with the x-axis, and another line is making same angle with the x-axis in clockwise direction. So angle between asymptote is 2 theta, that is 2 tan inverse b by a. Angle between asymptote is 2 tan inverse b by a. Next point is, a hyperbola is said to be rectangular hyperbola. That is important term, which is rectangular hyperbola. A hyperbola is said to be rectangular hyperbola if angle between asymptotes is 90 degree. In the case of PV barabar constant, the pressure axis and volume axis, these two axes are the asymptotes of the curve, and these two asymptotes making an angle pi by 2 with each other. That's why we can say that this PV barabar constant is equation of rectangular hyperbola. So if angle between asymptote is pi by 2, then it is called rectangular hyperbola. Rectangular hyperbola. That is 2 tan inverse b by a is equal to pi by 2, implies tan inverse b by a is equal to pi by 4, implies b by a is equal to tan pi by 4, and hence a is equal to b. So in the case of rectangular hyperbola, a will be equal to b, and hence we can say that equation of rectangular hyperbola is x square upon a square minus y square upon a square equal to 1, implies x square minus y square is equal to a square. Now next point is,